Welcome to Spirits Are Talking, hosted by Lisa Silverman. Join us every Tuesday night for live on-air psychic medium readings, crystal energy healings, oracle card readings, chakra balancing, and so much more. Host Lisa Silverman is a natural-born intuitive, psychic, medium, and spiritual life coach, working professionally in the metaphysical healing arts since 2015. Lisa communicates with loved ones and pets that have passed on for emotional healing and answers. Not to mention, she is an established interior designer since 2009, focusing on feng shui, modern design, and house healings by creating a harmonious energy flow for her clients. Now, your host of Spirits Are Talking, Lisa Silverman.
Hi, welcome to another show with me and my special guest because we had to do a part two. I'm Lisa Silverman, Spirits Are Talking. I'm a psychic medium. I'm intuitive. I'm an interior designer. I'm all things woo-woo. I'm an educator and a student. So whoever's here with me, thank you so much for joining me. I know you could be anywhere in the world and you're choosing to spend this valuable time with me. I appreciate it so much. I just want everyone to just take a big, deep breath and join me. And I'm going to talk for a couple minutes about a few things, the energy that's going on in the world right now. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. If I don't know you, it's a pleasure to see you on here. I wanted to just talk about the energy that's going on in the planets for a second. We're in a Mercury retrograde and an eclipse season. So there's a lot of anxiety going on and a lot of uncertainty in the world and some kind of fear, if you will. So if we can just hold space for each other in this sacred time and let all that go for now and not be in fear and not listen to the news and just kind of be in this conversation that we're going to have with my special guest, Todd Bates. That would be awesome. I want to pull a card for all of us as a collective. I'm an oracle card reader, psychic medium, intuitive, pet intuitive, Reiki healer, and you can check me out at spiritsaretalking.com to find out more about what I do. But I do want to pull oracle card. If you don't know oracle cards, but a lot of you do, they're a divination system that taps into the dominant energy of what's going on around us. So, and I've been working with Colette Baron-Reed for studying with her for probably going on 6 years now, and I'll never leave oracle school. So I want to pull a card as a collective, whether it's you're listening to the message now or in the future, it's for you at this particular time. Even though Mercury might not be retrograde at the time, as a collective, the energy, what we need to know for all of us right now, we'll find out. So I'm going to shuffle these cards, the wisdom of the oracle, and then I'm going to bring Todd up in just a couple minutes and see what's going on for us. Like, why is there so much uncertainty, and why aren't people having more patience, and where's the kindness? So we can't get rattled by the exterior world when we need to stay calm. And people are not nice right now. And people are short-tempered. And it's kind of the chaotic energy also with Mercury retrograde, which is amplifying some of that because Mercury is the planet of communication. And again, I mentioned, I think last week, that if you're experiencing technical difficulties, flight delays, people cutting off on the freeway, phones not working, emails not going out, bouncing. That's all kind of part of Mercury retrograde. It's just so wild that it affects literally electronics, delays, and plans. Okay. And communication, saying the wrong word. So what do we need to know about this time right now? And we'll pull a card from the wisdom of the oracle. And if you're listening anywhere in the world, I appreciate you so much. What do we need to know as a collective, our sacred space group right now? What's going on for all of us? The here and now. This is so interesting. This card is asking us to be in the here and now, to be in the moment. It's card number 32. And what I was saying, I just kind of said that about let's just be here in the moment now. The card represents not living in the past or in the present, because the truth is, and I know you've heard this before, is all we have is right now. All we have is this moment. This is the gift. Okay. And I know that it's hard to stay in that moment. However, here and now reminds us that being fully present in this moment and living one day as the time is what's in our highest good in the here and now. Okay. So it's everything happens in the now and in the present. Only this moment counts. You have what it takes to handle anything today if you let go of the need to look into the future or reflect on the past. It's very true. Be present and notice what is going on right now. This very moment has potential for you to create miracles in your life. I love this. And the relationship piece, because we're talking about Mercury retrograde with that energy, the relationship piece of this card is important. It's easy to yearn for a love affair or a friendship you may not have right now, one that is more romantic, more fun, more reliable, more passionate. The good old days are gone and a new day has dawned. Let your heart trust that you have everything you need right now, whether you have the relationship you desire or not. Tomorrow is beyond your reach. Yesterday cannot return. The now is all that is available to you. Stay present and aware that in this moment, as you cherish and approve of your beautiful self, you are a magnet for love. Spirit is madly in love with you right now. Did you know that? Turn to Spirit, your higher power. Feel joy and love in the here and now. This is so beautiful. It's taking a breath, is just breathing. Oh, I can only be in the here and now when you breathe. Do you know that? It puts you right in the present time. The prosperity piece, because this is really important as well. What are you what you're let me get my words together. What you're working on is really important and golden. All your efforts have a powerful legacy. Focus not on meeting a goal far off in the future, but on creating your dream now, releasing your desire for the outcome and owning that it already exists. This is so important to magnetizing things. It will appear in the natural world as if by magic. Claim your prosperity now. The essence is more important than the form. When you're immersed in prosperous thoughts, you automatically tune into a sense of timelessness and unlimited potential. You can act as if, in spite of temporary outer circumstances, you're prosperous in this moment. What you think now becomes your reality. So stay present. This is so beautiful for all of us. What a great thing. It's true. The abundance thought is I have, I am, I obtain, I own, I have, I create, I magnetize, I am. If you just said, I am health, I am love, I am joy, I am abundant, that calls you to the power in this moment. So that was really beautiful. Thank you so much. I hope you got a lot out of that card. It's very poignant for the times we're going through right now on this day, which is May 2nd, 2023. So without further ado, thank you so much. You're going to see me use my pendulum possibly later. We're going to jump into my special guest, Todd Bates, who was on last week for part 1, and people wanted more. Todd is in broadcasting, and he is the owner of WLTK DB Talk Radio. He's a digital voice. He does voiceovers. He does all these things, and he's the author of the Haunted Voice and the Ghost Finders. I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied tonight. So interesting. So Todd, please come back on and join us for another inspiring conversation.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me
Welcome.
back.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming back.
Oh, absolutely. I had an amazing time last time.
It was a great conversation that the folks, people, listeners wanted to hear more from us. So we will look at the comments and we'll answer any questions in a couple
The
minutes.
card you pulled was amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Did that resonate for you?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Did it ever. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
good to stay in the present. It's great to stay in the present. I love
It
the
is.
moment.
And in the 24 hours, it's like I learned in Oracle school that when we compartmentalize today, this is what I can do today. I can't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow or what I didn't do yesterday. I can only focus on today. And when I do that and stay in my 24 hours, I just feel more secure, more centered, more balanced. And in this 24
Mhm.
hours, this is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going to have space held for me to do what I need to do in these 24 hours.
Yes.
So that card was really pertinent and then spot on. You can't make this shit up. That's what I say.
Not a word
I don't
of
need
it,
to get
no.
bloopered. So I can say what I want, right?
Sure you can.
I know.
Free speech all around.
Free speech is so important.
It is.
So we were talking last week about, we touched on a lot of subjects that you've gone through. And I want to just go back and touch on a couple things that we didn't cover that I wanted to find out more about. Is that okay?
Sure. Absolutely. I'm an open
You're an
book,
open
literally.
book. Um, okay, so for people that don't know, you do broadcasting. So just recap of how you got into broadcasting and that you knew you had a beautiful voice, because you have a very beautiful voice. You do
Aw, thank you.
voiceovers and storytelling. And can you just tell us a little bit in a quick recap
Sure.
of that?
A quick recap. That was back in 2003 when I kinda got into radio. I friended a, man named Jimmy Lowry. He's an amazing individual. He had a show, and he had me co-host with him, and I tried it out after I'd gotten to the paranormal for a little while. I was on
Mhm.
a team. Now I'm a co-host on a show. I'm like, "This is great." And that's how everything started rolling for me is I really because I've always had a passion for radio. I've always wanted to learn more about it, how it worked, how, I'm a creature of habit like that. And
Are you trained? Did you do training with your voice?
I went mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to school for it. After I hosted for a little while, started the Haunted Voices show in 2004, I wanted to better myself. I wanted to learn because if you have something you can use it. And that was my mentality.
That's your gift.
And I had it. And so I went to school and it was an amazing experience broadcasting school. It was so much fun. You DJ at a college station, you
Mhm.
learn the tricks of the trade, you learn the ins and outs. There was a lot of terrestrial training, terrestrial radios like AM, FM. I was more digital. This was up and
Yeah.
coming back then. So I
Interesting.
talked to my instructor and he put me on the digital program with voiceovers, specialties, and things of that nature that I was trained in, so I could
Mhm.
do them digitally for people. And I fell in love with it. It was a new addiction for me, a good addiction, something that was worthwhile, something that gave me
Great.
purpose. Purpose is a
I
good
love
thing.
that. My daughter was a DJ in college
Yeah,
on her radio show. Yeah.
and she
I
had fun, right?
Oh, fun. And I would call in and she would take calls and I'd say, play my favorite song, and she'd, laugh because it would be, like Shaggy or something, like, and so Selena Heiss, she's on here. So back to you. So what inspired you was about the paranormal turned into doing it with your tying in your passion, right?
Right, and I intertwined the 2 and turned it
That's the
into
best thing.
paranormal broadcasting, basically. I talked
Right.
about all things strange and bizarre, anything you can imagine, down to the
So
little tiny gnomes.
so speak really. So speaking of that, what's strange and bizarre to you in the
Well,
paranormal world?
these days, not much, but what
Like a
I
gnome.
find
What's a gnome? I just think they're little things. I don't
gnomes
really
are part of the, what's called the fae or elementals.
Okay.
fairies.
Right.
And I've
I believe.
always been skeptical of little fairies and scared of them, I think, because I'm afraid of small things. I'm afraid of little people, things like that. I have a phobia, and I'll
Oh,
I'll run.
wow.
I'll run like a little kid.
That's
But,
interesting. Well, that's past life stuff.
I think,
That's
yeah,
that's
it may
very
have
much
been
so.
because
Oh my gosh, I'm just getting hit for you. You know,
I don't recall
I
ever
get the
being
no,
frightened.
it's past life stuff for
Okay.
sure. Mhm. I believe that's my feeling. I'm getting
Was
chills
I
all over.
one?
No, I
You think
I don't think you
I
were, but I think you were around a lot and it freaked you out maybe, you
maybe.
know?
Okay, that
Like
makes sense.
circusy. I'm seeing circusy and
Okay.
chaos long time ago, but I'm not a past life regressionist. I'm just getting downloads. I'm an intuitive, and that's what I think's going on
I
with you. It was like a cluster of little people that was chaotic,
I can't
like
explain it,
Barnum and
Lisa.
Bailey's
Yeah, I've always been terrified of little people and
and clowns.
dolls and all kinds of strange things.
Clowns, do
Um,
those freak you out?
Dolls?
Clowns.
Clowns? No. My daughter, yes. But me, no. Clowns, I enjoy clowns. I used to go to the
Okay.
circus growing up, I mean, I
Uh-huh.
enjoyed that. I think, like you said, something must have happened back in the day in a past life because I don't
Definitely.
recall anything traumatic.
No,
And
it's
I
leftover stuff. I have a question for you. Sorry for interrupting, but back to like what's the, the weirdest thing? What someone's asking Tempo Black Star, Todd, what is the creepiest place you investigated? That's a
ooh,
good question.
oh, that's a great
Thank
question.
you.
Um, Again, it would be the creepiest place would probably have been the little one-room schoolhouse I used to investigate. It was an
Mm,
old, it was back from the, mid-20s, 30s, and the building was still
19.
there. Yeah, 1900s, early 1900s, and it was the most obscure, creepiest looking building you'd ever seen. And I contacted the owner. I said, "Do you mind if we take a look inside here?" He goes, "For what?" There's nothing in there. And I let him know what we do and everything. And of course, he is 100% skeptical, doesn't believe whatsoever. And he was okay. You go down there and you find those ghosts, is what
Yeah.
he said. And he gave us permission to investigate the area. And not only did we do that, but we researched that area. Um, as far as past teachers, past classmates, things of that nature. The the inside, you walk inside and the potbelly stove is still there. Some of the
Wow.
little benches are still there. The teacher's podium was rotted out in one corner and cockeyed, but it was still there. The chalkboard was still there. And all of these things resonate, in my opinion, energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, okay, this place is going to be filled with residual activity from days of school, from, whatever, back in the day. And it was, we obtained a lot of evidence, a lot of data from there. That's where I first had contact with a child spirit.
Wow.
Um,
And
we,
how
we,
did
we
that
got a lot of, it was, this is a really sad story, but it has a happy ending. We went in, we had a couple of friends that came with us one night and they wanted to see what it was like, inside the old schoolhouse and everything. So we took them with, and we left a recorder inside the schoolhouse to go ahead and run what's called a stationary session where it just sits there and records.
Mm-hmm.
And we left the area. Well, we come back and get the recorder, gather our equipment because it was really cold that night. Gather our equipment, and we just said, "Okay, we'll take this back. We'll process it. We'll see if we, got anything." Lo and behold, and I was in tears. She was in tears when this happened. This we come back in as soon as we come back inside the little schoolhouse. The recorder captured that's my daddy.
Oh.
And I didn't recognize I recognized the child. That was definitely a child's voice, a little girl. The
Mm-hmm.
mother immediately burst into tears and recognized that as her daughter's voice, or her daughter's voice, her 5-year-old daughter's voice that had passed 3 years
Wow.
prior to that. And she
Oh,
she recognized that as her voice, and that gave her closure as well.
peace.
That gave me some closure. That gave me some answers.
Yeah.
That's an intelligent spirit. There's intelligence here. She's
Mm-hmm.
recognizing someone, and then the other half of me says, okay, that could have been something residual. Some dad coming to pick up their daughter from school, and the little girl says, that's my daddy. So either way,
You
either
caught it
way.
on.
Mhm.
That's awesome because when you were talking about that, it was what I get because I channel, loved ones all the time. What I tune into when you say that is that little girl knew that was the opportunity for this mother to hear, right?
Mm.
That
Yep.
this mother wasn't going to seek finding out where her daughter is. She wasn't going to go to a medium, probably, was she?
She didn't
So,
mention it. She didn't mention it, but I'm sure that
yeah.
seed was planted.
I feel like she was kind of shut down, the mother. And so this beautiful soul took the opportunity and aligned it so that she could be recognized on tape. It's amazing what spirit will do to get to us,
I agree.
Uh,
I agree. They
so the
do some
previous
pretty
things
crazy
at
things.
schoolhouse, I would have thought a old haunted mansion would be creepy, like an old, like,
You'd think.
well, when I was in high school, some of my friends who are listening are going to remember this place. I'm not going to say the name, but there was an abandoned mansion not far from where we lived, 15 minutes away. And it was newly abandoned and it was massive. And it had like hand painted murals of like the Last Supper on the dining room. I mean, like over the top spiral staircases with the pool and then the pool house. I mean, it was just spectacular. And so we partied in there on, trespassing.
Of
So
course.
that's what you do in high school. So, and when I got there, it was pretty pristine. And then people heard about it, and then it started again. But there was a lot of energy in there. I wasn't a medium out yet, but I could feel all this energy and the conversations and the laughter and the parties and the drama and the throwing of things. It was like, oh my God, I got to go outside. So I'm going to try that sometime. I'd love to go back to somewhere kind of creepy and just let those spirits that are stuck kind of go, help them.
Yeah, and the thing with the whole creepy feel is, sure, that's attractive, that attracts you, but I've also done a lot of residentials. They've lived in brand new homes,
Oh yeah.
brand new
Yeah.
homes that were haunted, and I feel it's tied to the land. Perhaps they disturb something. I mean, it's there's so many ley lines, you name it. There's so many different variables you can throw in there, but
Right.
but I
Like
like the
cemeteries
older
aren't
ones.
scary to me. I'm very sensitive.
Mhm.
When I go to a cemetery, I have to shut down all my chakras. I close up, I put myself in like a Teflon ball, if you will, and protect myself because I will hear so much there
Yeah,
and
I bet.
feel.
I can't imagine how it would be you walking through a cemetery. That would be, for me, that'd be unbearable if I was a medium. I'd be like, no, 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 no,
No, no, no, no. But they're not
no.
there. They're everywhere. So it's not just, people go to a cemetery and respectfully to pay respects to their loved ones and to feel closer to them. And understand that 1,000,000%. But the reality and my truth is that they're not there. The shell is there.
Right.
They're everywhere you are,
Mhm.
which is true, unless they're stuck in an old mansion or schoolhouse or hotel or wherever, and they
Perhaps,
haven't crossed over.
perhaps. I mean, there are some that I feel are stuck. Yes.
So I want to ask you another question. You mentioned about your skepticism about the paranormal. Can you explain more of that? And what changed your mind? Like what one thing just made you go, oh, I get it now.
There's so much to it, and
I know.
when I learn something new, I'm like a sponge. I try to absorb everything. So I'm trying to grab ghosts, Bigfoot, UFO. I overwhelm my mind, and that kind of got me off kilter with the paranormal. But
Mhm.
what I love about it, and what I'll always love about it, is the community. The community itself, it's growing. It's a decent community. You know, sure, there's hiccups, there's this and that, but that's what snowballed me through the whole thing. Was I started, you know, like I said in the last show, with the lessons, teaching people, um, and everything just kind of landed. And it's hard to process everything because I was a man of absolutes. So,
Right.
of course, I can't believe Bigfoot's out there if I didn't see him yet. Of course, I can't believe there's UFOs if I haven't had any encounters.
So this is interesting perspective. So this is a very interesting perspective. So I'm going to pose this. So if you haven't experienced it, this is in general, I'm not pointing a finger at all. It's only from love. But this is interesting because I've said this to someone before. So are you saying that if you haven't experienced something, that it's not real?
Oh, no, 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 no. For me, it's not. So
Right.
I can't, I won't pursue it. Now, I
Mhm.
read, so many cases, different cases, paranormal cases out there, different ones, different people that have had these encounters, that have been abducted, that have been this, that have been that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how? How? How?
No thanks on objection.
This
Okay.
this is when I first started.
I mean, no, thank you. I think I was probably abducted, thrown down here.
Those in
I
all
mean,
honesty,
oh my God.
those cases, Lisa, were more scary than any ghost
Yeah.
case I've done.
And
Those
I
abduction
believe in
cases
that, but
were
I don't need the
scary.
experience to know that it's real
Mhm.
for me, right?
Yeah, and that was the thing, is I couldn't hold it. You know, this is when I first started, and this is what my mind was, and how it evolves is, you know, I couldn't hold it. It wasn't tangible. I couldn't put it in my pocket. I couldn't
Mhm.
save it for later, you know. So that ate at me for a long time. And I kept
So
trying and trying. And that's when I was finally convinced to go on that tour. And I captured that first one. And that's when everything kind of clicked. Everything came together. Okay, I was meant for this particular area in the paranormal field, not photography, not cinematography,
right.
not Bigfoot, not UFOs. I was connected with EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. And that is what I focused on throughout my entire career and still do.
That's so cool. So I find it interesting because I wouldn't know what to do if I went into a place with a tape recorder or a recording device. Tape recorder's so old school, but hey,
But they're
throwing it back,
fun.
right? They're great. Click. And there's something about a tape recorder and that static,
Hmm.
that's kind of cool. Static tells stories too.
Yes, it
You know that,
does.
right? I mean, this just static can tell you so much. Doesn't have to just be words. Would that be true?
It is. And it's hard. Like, scientifically speaking, you don't want to listen to hiss that long when you're analyzing, because you may develop what's called a pareidolia, or you may hear something that's not there, because that white noise in the background on that tape is
Yeah,
millions of different frequencies, different
that's
ones
true.
in there, but only the brain can only process one at a time. So that's why you hear that constant shh.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of, you can hear a lot of different messages in there if you listen. But are you hearing those? Are they on the tape, or are they in your mind? So you have to decipher those and look at what's in front of you. on that
It's like
program.
mediumship too. I mean, yeah, it's like I have to say to myself, is that my energy or is that someone else's, right?
Mm,
The empath, like, is that mine or what? Um, so I totally understand what you're saying. The white noise. And the white noise is what clutters our brain all the time. Can we
yeah.
just like shut out the white noise? Like be in the here and now is closing off that white noise.
Yes.
too. Okay,
Yes.
I want to ask you another question.
Bring them on.
So basically, I just want to circle back is that your skepticism until you had that experience on the recording, then that was your turning point. That
Oh,
was when you
sure.
got something, and then now you're not skeptical anymore, and
I
that's where you're
have
going
some
with it.
skepticism on my mind, but
Yeah.
I believe more firmly in what I see and hear these days than
Mhm.
what I did. Um,
Interesting, because you
Unexplainable.
have a whole broadcasting station, WLTK DB radio, talk radio. It's all about paranormal. So, I mean, come on, you had a huge shift to be able to even pull this together, right?
A massive shift. I was in, like we talked about the first time, I was at my darkest time, and this is when the sun started to rise. Everything was clicking. I had my purpose. I found I don't know what it was, and I to this day I still don't know what makes me so driven and motivated to continue doing what I'm doing, but I do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's because it's your purpose and your passion.
yeah,
It's
and that's
like what
when
you're born to do.
I had to build things. I needed to build things. I needed to create things. I needed to constantly do things, not because I enjoy what I do, but it keeps me out of trouble. If I stay busy, I'm fine. I always tell myself, and idle mind is the devil's workshop. So
Yeah,
I try to constantly create, constantly have to, uh, even if it's a little image, I will make something different. Just to create a tiny image, create something that day.
that's great.
These shows and this station, that's how it all came about. Um, was I had my purpose. So I began broadcasting, on my show Haunted Voices and loved it, every second of it. The only thing that I didn't enjoy was running the show in the background. So I'm thinking,
Right.
how in the world can I do this? Well, there's no way for me. I have to do it. But what clicked was if there was a host on the other side that had a show, I could do this for them. They wouldn't have to do it. They could
Right.
concentrate on their
Thank
show, their
goodness.
guests, what have you. And that was the foundation of the station was
That's so great.
that
Building a
that's for
community is what you did
mhm,
too.
mhm,
That's a big deal.
and
That's a big deal.
providing
The
this
service.
programming free of charge that I want to do for the life of the station, is to give this free because I think this information should be free. I know this information should be
Mhm,
free. It's great
absolutely.
information that you guys talk about. So it needs to get out to people.
Mhm.
They don't have to worry about subscriptions, yanking $20 out of their account every month. This is something that it's different. This is talk. This is live stuff. This is
Right,
interactive.
available
That's
wherever
what I
you
want.
get your podcasts.
Mhm. It's
So,
exactly what I wanted.
and that's fantastic. I love it, and I'm so glad to be part of the family and that you do this for like-minded people and as a collective. We're all in like a bubble, even if we all have our own shows, and I haven't met anyone, I've a few people, but we're still under the same umbrella doing what our passion and what is called to us, and being able to have you produce it and be part of it's really a blessing. So thank you so much for
Oh, it's
that.
my pleasure. I love it. I love
Um,
every minute.
I wanted to ask you what inspired you to write your book, The Haunted Voices?
Mm. amendments, releasing excess baggage,
Catharticism.
becoming myself.
Wow.
I had all of these things that I felt were wrong with me, and they're not. A lot of people have these issues I have, and writing that helped me mentally clear those issues from my mind
That's
and to
great.
put them on paper. And what I find amazing is people are reading it that also have bipolar or Crohn's or what have you, and they are
Mhm,
relating to it, and it's helping
mhm.
them. And that is my end goal, because that book took a lot to
Oh, of
write,
course
because
it
I
did.
put all my vulnerabilities out there. I mean,
Mhm.
ooh, everybody knows all about me now. Good, because that's me. All of those things make up who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it anymore. That's who I
Exactly.
am. Love it or leave it. That's the way I
I
see it.
love it.
It's
Yeah,
just
that's
life's
true.
too
I
short.
agree. I'm in the
Life's too
process
short to
of
carry the
writing.
baggage.
I know. And what I learned, like I am such a follower of Louise Hay. I think I might have mentioned her to you before. You've heard of
Mhm.
her, Louise Hay, Hay House Radio,
House radio.
Balboa Press. Anyway, I was raised knowing her and studying with her. And I remember her saying that the same thing could be said 5 different ways, but whatever way you hear it, whoever from, you get the message. You know what I mean?
That
So,
makes sense.
right, you could say the same story, 5 different people, but the way it lands on you, it finally sinks in. So that's kind of what you're saying about your book,
Mhm,
right?
mhm. Yeah,
That's really great.
in
It's
a sense, that
beautiful.
is what I'm saying about it, and I mean, I'd love to give away a copy tonight. We didn't get a chance to do that last time. I'd love to give
Okay,
away a
so
copy.
we can do a
Um,
random thing. How do
that's
you want to
just
do that? I'd love that. Someone has to put their um name, or will you tell me?
no, they just have to
Random,
guess a number.
just guess a number. Okay, I'll write it down. Or you write it down.
Yeah, I've got
So
it written
I'm gonna
down
read
here.
a couple comments, take a minute.
Sure.
Room with Spanish dancers mural. Yeah, Gina was there. Mountain Ranch, Indian Burial Grounds, very haunted. Um, as as a large as large as the universe is, we have other beings, very silly as humans to think we're the only ones in the galaxy. Agreed.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
also Trudy saying it's also a teaching platform. Um, WLTK DB. I'm dyslexic, so that's so hard for me to say. Radio. I apologize.
No. It's fine.
What's 84 mean and 88?
Oh my goodness, they're guessing numbers.
Are they guessing numbers already? Did you write it down yet?
I wrote it down before the show.
Oh,
I've got it right here
okay.
on this notepad,
I'm going to guess the number, but I want you to give it away to someone else.
but it's between
Um,
1 and 20.
okay, I'm going to guess number 7. 1 and 20, folks. Folks, friends, beautiful
Between 1 and
soul.
20.
Okay.
No, but
Um,
it meant the world to me to get that out to people and to release that from me, to cut that does what doesn't serve me anymore.
I love it.
To do that, and
That's right.
you just got to pull them out one at a time. And mine really didn't light up until I started typing, and then boy, they all came in.
I know.
So journaling, oh my goodness, I can't recommend that enough.
Journaling is so great. I journal a lot. I write and burn during the full moon and new moon. I think it's important to do that. Um, and to release. And I'm in the middle of a book myself. And so I'm purging a lot too. And it's just so beautiful. This is who I am. This is how I became, to be. And like you, like it or leave it or love it, or just that's it. I want to ask you another question. So now that you know, not now that you know, but you know that you connect with spirits in other ways besides the audio hearing, right? So, um, how do you know when you're connected to spirit?
That is a fantastic question. And I'd like to say it's a gut feeling, but it's more than that. Um, it's almost like a seatbelt when I walk into a location that I know has a past. It's like stepping back in time, and then I just click. I
Mhm.
feel tingles. I feel I don't hear voices. I'm not clairvoyant or anything like that. I don't consider myself a psychic in any way. But
No,
I
but
going from my human senses, you can tell. You go into that location, no matter what it is, the past, you know the area, what have you. You just become that area. It's hard to explain. You
interesting.
become that area. You reach out all of your tentacles as far as you can in that area to connect. And that's what it feels like when I walk into one of these places. My hair stands on end sometimes.
Mhm.
And that's what tells me, okay, you're in.
Yeah,
Now go to work. And that's what I do.
interesting. So you do know before you roll the tape for the audio, I don't even know if I'm using the right term, but for the recording, that there's energy in the room because you feel it in your body.
I felt it, you
Yeah,
know.
and that's this
Um,
natural senses. We're all intuitive and we all have that ability, and some people have it more than others, and there is no race to get there. We're all developed as we grow, right? But it's so great to hear your awareness of how you know spirits around you and when you connect. For me, it's similar. I get the chills, I get downloads, I just get name drops. I start seeing things like in my mind's eye of, you know, people like today, full beard, that kind of thing.
See,
Um,
I wish I could see those kinds of things. I wish I could interpret those kinds of things, Lisa.
you
And
can, as you keep going, you can, or you just have it in different ways. Not everyone's all the clairs, or some are more audio, some are more sensual, which is the feelings, right? The gut, the chills. So as long as you
okay,
get the messages, that's what's that's why
something's
I
tugging
feel
at my strings, is what you're saying. Something's there.
and
Something's
you're
tugging
connecting
at
the
my
mind,
strings.
body, and going, yeah, because the truth is when I know this to be true, when we think of our loved ones on the other side, our pets or loved ones, friends, family, whoever it may be, when we're thinking of them and having a knowingness, it's definitely true because they're there. They're putting the thought almost in your head. So it's the same thing with like the chills, the angel bumps, goosebumps, whatever you want to call it. It's that feeling, that knowing, like in your soul, that it's real and right, and that's who you're connecting with, and that's what matters to me.
That makes sense.
Does that make sense?
That makes
And for
sense.
everyone, it's different.
Yeah, that part of me didn't connect. I don't think because when I was active in the field, I mean, I'm retired from it now, but I didn't connect with it like that.
I know.
I allowed it to go so far and then relied on equipment.
Exactly. Isn't that interesting? We talked about that after the show last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. A little epiphanies about
It's the little
that
thing.
we let our ego, the ego mind, not the ego big mind, the small ego, right? That wants to squash our truth and say, no, that can't be real. That's not right. That's not, I need facts or proof or whatever. And it can run, I call it like monkey mind. So it's like, no, these are my signs and this is what it is. And now I know, right?
Mhm. Absolutely.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
had that with my opening up too, and I got blown open pretty quick and very rapidly, in fact. And the same things happen to me. As I keep studying and evolving, I recognize, certain symbols mean something pretty much all around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think I mentioned this, but I want to hear again. What is the most fascinating part of the paranormal world for you? What is fascinating besides the gnomes? What's like fascinating to you that you just think so cool, not scary or
The
not like
unknown itself is what fascinates me. That's the motivation, is making the unknown known. So what motivates me, what keeps me going with this, is it's a mystery. I love mysteries, and this is one, in all honesty, I don't think in my lifetime anyway, I don't think it'll be solved. I don't think we're meant to know these things. So
no,
I'm
I
trying
agree.
to
We,
grasp all I can while I'm here. You
you know, that's really interesting because if we were to try and grasp all the energy that was there, we'd explode. There's
Uh-huh.
no way we can, as a human, can contain that much energy. Our minds can't even fathom what's really out there. Energy is something that can never be broken,
Mhm.
ever.
Only
Uh,
transferred.
it's transferred. It can be, released, and but energy is fluid. Like I let go of energy and I transmute energy and transform energy, but energy is consistent. So if we were to try and think of all the galaxies and all the stars, and if just thinking of the galaxies and life on that would make my brain explode, let alone, right? Let alone what I do makes other people's brains explode. Like
Bingo.
how can she talk to people that have passed over and pets and communicate and give facts and stuff? And like to me, that's my normal,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But with that, and then being the abductions, and it's so much we can't learn it all, not in
Mm-mm.
one lifetime. That's
No,
why souls come back. It's a spiritual thing. The paranormal, in my view, and I want to hear your opinion, is a very spiritual, kind of a sacred container.
it is.
If you're not spiritual or you don't believe in a higher power or energy, then you sure as hell aren't in the paranormal world.
Correct. You must believe in some kind of source,
Yeah.
because you're dealing with something that is
Hmm.
greater than yourself. And some people don't realize that, and they learn the hard way. Um,
Yeah.
Respect.
Like respect. Is that what you said?
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was little, I had seances and Ouija boards, and some of my friends are on here. We did Ouija boards and all that. And like I mentioned, my mom was very, very progressive, and I had a past life regression. I was 16, and by a famous lady, Helen Wambach. And my mom was very fascinated with UFOs and Art Bell, and way back. So, but the thing is I don't believe in just unicorns and fairies and everything, right? And
Mhm.
rainbows, even though that's my nature. Okay. That is my nature, is to have daisies and frolic in the fields and have rainbows and unicorns and stuff. But that's not reality. We have duality, right? And so I know there's a dark side, but I don't ever work in the dark side.
I don't
So
either.
I don't get afraid of spirit. I just tell them to go bugger off, or run away or leave me alone. But I have never, not since I've been a medium, really, a full on the closet medium, ever been afraid of a spirit
Mhm.
at all.
And I've worked in the dark, but I've never been in the dark, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
It's all up here. When you go to these places, when you do these things, you have to be in good spirits. You have to be positive. You have to be,
High
um,
vibing. High
yes,
vibing.
very high vibing, very high vibing.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to compare it other than it's like going fishing while forgetting your worms. You need all of these things to make it right, to make it work. And
In
it is. It's
recording. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And what I recommend is I think every team should have a medium on board. I mean, I highly recommend that.
I think you should encourage that because we cut through the crap.
Yeah. I mean, that's
You
the
know?
biggest thing is
And then we can hear, like, I hear what you don't hear at times in a room or in a space. Like, oh, that's interesting. But in a way, it's sound. It's also exterior. But a lot of it for me is downloaded interior. And it's not my voice. And I'm not schizo. So I know it's someone accent or, foreign language, or English is their second language. I always pick up on those things, the nuances and subtleties. But it's, we're all born with sixth sense. We have all these senses, and it's how we develop them and work on them and keep, connected to our loved ones, whether it's recording on recording, devices that you've been doing, or mediumship, what I do, and moving energy around. We can all agree that we're all part of the bigger picture, the divine, and we're all the spark of the divine, right? And
Absolutely.
so we're meant to stay connected. We're meant to grow. And I believe, which I could do like 10 shows on reincarnation, but I believe that we're all reincarnated and we come here for a reason. And we're humans we're spirits having a human experience. And the only way we can have a human experience or to have tactile things is to be in a body, right? Because we learn through physical, unfortunately. And it's hard. Earth school can be difficult, but when we have that day that feels difficult, we can be rest assured that our soul had growth that day, right?
Yes.
And we come back to learn whatever and that you didn't learn. So try and learn it all as far as karma and everything, because we don't want to bring that stuff into the next life, and be in the here and now. It's back to being in the here and now.
Yes.
Right. But knowing that we're all connected is really important. And I think with the last 3 years of how the world has been, if we just try to stay in the here and now in a 24-hour container and try to imagine just looking at someone else through different eyes, right? More compassion, realizing that we're all really connected, that would make this world a little bit of a better place.
It would make this world an amazing place.
I think so. Staying connected.
It's contagious too. I mean, it's not hard either.
Excuse me.
It's not hard to stay in the moment.
It's not hard, and it's not hard to be nice.
Yeah.
It's easy to be nice. I want to answer a couple callers, read a couple comments. Feeling the energy, sensation, knowing, and intuition. Yep. Hi, you two. Glad to see you. I'm late, but not too late. Nope. You're great. Right on time. Hi, guys. Hi, Lisa. The old cliche holds true. Your thoughts create your reality. Absolutely.
Yes.
Great advice. Okay. So what is the number? Because we only have a couple of minutes, right?
Okay. Well,
Already?
it's a number between 1 and 20, and they were real close. No one's hit it yet. I've been watching over there. It's a number between 1 and 20, and they were literally one off.
17.
One off of that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've got it written down here. I wrote it before the show, so I can't cheat.
So anyone want to guess the number?
Oh, they're so close.
So Todd will have to do this again sometime. And I want to thank you so much, everybody. We have
Carla
to go
got it.
Okay. Yay. Carla's the winner. Congratulations. I'm going to I'll do a giveaway next week for sure too, for session. But Todd, in wrapping up, the last question I want to ask you is, what makes you happy?
Okay. Sorry. I had to put that in there. What makes me happy? This job makes me happy.
That's great.
My Sherry makes me happy. My
That's great.
kids make me happy. My grandson makes me happy. Life makes me happy.
I love it. That's so great. My glam babies make me happy. My family, my friends, my loved ones, my Bentley. That's where we find our joy, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is.
I'm sending everybody so much love. Todd, thank you so much. Please like, follow, and subscribe. The show notes are in the description, I believe. So for a reading with me, go to spiritualtalking.com. And the sessions are amazing because you get so much healing that you didn't even know you really needed. It's just not just talking to your loved ones. It's getting messages from lifetimes and to move forward if you're stuck. Thank you all so much. Have a beautiful night. Todd, thank you so much.
Thank
I'll
you,
see you on
Lisa.
the flip side in a second.
You
Bye,
got it.
everybody.
Bye.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.